Hello, everybody. I'm Guia Mariani. I'm the host of the new channel War Room Italia. This is my first interview ever, and this channel is dedicated to the Italian public, to the Italian audience, and my aim is to bring the American heroes to the Italian people to allow them to understand how many warriors there are in America that are fighting, even for us here, because we really are in an existential battle against globalism, and is not something to not pay attention of. So my English is my second language, and the interview will be totally in English, and then I will have this same interview copied and translated in Italian with the voiceover for the Italian audience. And this is it. I hope you will enjoy this channel. If you want to subscribe, I will be very, very happy. So today I have a very special guest. I am a great admirer of this author, journalist, doctor. He did amazing things throughout his career, and he will tell us more about him right now. And he just came out with an incredible, revealing book regarding the death of JFK. Which really was a moment in history that it was like one of those turning points in our world politics. And I am very happy and so thrilled to have with us Dr. Jerome Corsi. Welcome, Dr. Corsi. Can you?
Great to be with you. Thank you. Yes,
Okay.
thank you very much. And posso parlare italiano, però per
Wow.
me it's a second language, però sono italiano americano, so
Oh, okay. You're Italian American. That's fantastic. Yeah, Corsi is an Italian last name,
yes,
in fact.
yes. My family came from Supino, outside of Rome, a little town,
Yes.
and my grandmother came from Treviso. So my
Uh-huh.
father's side, both of my grandparents were born in Italy, and I heard Italian growing up considerably, and I pretty much learned it as a child. So ho sentito italiano tutta la vita.
I think it. Yeah, you heard Italian all your life. Yes, absolutely. And yeah, it's actually very good, by the way. My
Well,
count.
I don't know how good it is, but it is passable. I think I can be understood pretty easily in Italy, and when I get to Italy and practice for a while, I'm pretty comfortable speaking Italian. But it takes a few days to get it back into my head fluently.
Okay, well then, when you come to Italy, I will test you. I will.
Okay,
You will come. We will go for a lunch, and I will test you.
that's a deal. That's a deal. We'll
Okay,
do that.
fantastic.
We'll do that.
Um, So, Dr. Corsi, first of all, thank you so much for having accepted my invitation. You really cannot know how much I am honored of this availability to my channel. And I would like you to, because in America you're famous, you have a name, an incredible reputation, but the Italian people, this is the aim of this channel, and probably even some Americans aren't really familiar with you and your background. And before talking about your book, could you please tell us more about yourself and in your career, the successes, and also what brought you to come and write the final analysis of the JFK assassination, this book that you wrote with Dr. Mantek, right? Uh,
Yes.
let's show the cover of the book. The final analysis. You wrote it with Dr. David Mantek, and it is based on with the research is based on the latest documents that have been declassified. Right? Am I correct?
Yes, it's Dr. Mantic is both a MD, he's a radiation oncologist, so he's been reading X-rays for cancer patients for over 4 decades, and he also has a PhD in physics.
Mhm.
Now he has seen the JFK skull X-rays from the autopsy more than anyone else. And if
Yeah.
you and he's done optical density measurements of the X-rays, which is you take a densitometer, which is a scientific apparatus, and it has a pinhole for light to come in. To put the
Mm-hmm.
X-ray into the apparatus, and there's an arm to bring it down, and it will read the light
Mm-hmm.
coming through the X-ray at a
Mm-hmm.
millimeter by millimeter or tenth of a millimeter by tenth of a millimeter, and you can tell exactly what you're looking at. Now, Dr. Manek has proved scientifically, this is forensic evidence like crime scene analysis, CSI.
Mm-hmm.
There are three remaining skull X-rays from JFK's autopsy. They are his skull because the dental records in the X-rays match a pre-mortem skull X-ray that JFK had taken. It was archived in the JFK Museum and Presidential Library in Boston. So it's JFK's skull. All three of the X-rays have been altered. They're forgeries. They were altered.
Really?
They were altered masked frontal shots. If you put the cover back on, I'll explain it to you in detail. Hit on the side of his head by the temporal bone by the right ear, and it blew out the back of his head. He had a huge blowout of the back of the head, and that
Mm-hmm.
threw him back violently to the left. It happened at frame 331,
Mm-hmm.
the Zapruder film. And then the shot that hit his forehead happened kind of in between, right, maybe simultaneously with the shot that hit on the ear, and it came from the front too. And you
Mm-hmm.
can see actually the bullet trail across the top of Jack Kennedy's head as the bullet broke up, and it did not exit the head. The
Mm-hmm.
largest fragment is in the back. That's clearly a frontal shot. So there were at least three shooters, one from across on the other side of the grassy knoll, the south side, by
Yeah.
the railroad yard above the triple underpass,
Mm-hmm.
another shooter on the grassy knoll,
Mm-hmm.
the shot to the side, the really massive shot, and then someone in the Daltex building behind JFK. And so, therefore, no shots hit JFK's head from the sixth floor of the Texas School Book Depository, which means that Lee Harvey Oswald was not the lone gun assassin. In fact, I doubt if Lee Harvey Oswald fired a single shot that day.
Really?
But
Not at all.
since this is X-ray evidence, it's indisputable. And the book has been out now for this is going into the third month, and it has not been disputed or criticized. It's 500 and
Because it's true.
it's true, and the evidence is presented. The book is it's a big book. It's 530 some pages long,
Wow.
and it is densely illustrated. I mean, I show you pictures of everything we're talking about in the book.
Let me put you in the spotlight here.
So the book is really, I'll show that again, and I'll
Yes,
show a
please.
couple more pictures. I mean, we're talking about the Zapruder film, and you see the frames I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about. And
Yes.
then as we talk about the medical evidence, I'll show you some of I
This
mean,
is a historical for history records. Your
yeah,
book,
and I show
absolutely.
also all the medical records. I show in here at length and
That,
it's
no,
all,
that should your book should be in the libraries of colleges of universities.
well, I think increasingly in will, and there's an Italian
Yes.
publisher already interested in publishing a
Yeah.
version of this in Italy.
I was
And
thinking about apart from publishing it, really, it should really reach the universities because I can see that you can really go through all the
it's
scientifically and
yeah, the book is done extremely well here, and it's being
mhm,
regarded as having made it absolutely clear that the government has been lying
mhm.
for 60 years. And
Yeah,
what it means is that the deep state basically took over. I mean, just see how intensely it's organized and
it's
illustrated.
incredible. It's fabulous,
And
fabulous work.
and so therefore,
Fabulous work.
it's a comprehensive work. And what it shows is that the deep state, this was I point out the CIA was lying from the first moments of the assassination. The Secret Service was trying to, at Parkland Hospital, wash the damage, blood and gore from the backseat of the limousine. They're altering a
Mhm.
crime scene. There
Yeah.
was a lot of problems. The doctors at Parkland hospital. Jack Kennedy was shot in Dealey Plaza, and Parkland Hospital was right there, just a couple minutes away. So
Yeah.
and when Jack Kennedy entered the trauma room at the emergency room, the
Mm-hmm.
doctors saw that he was dead. He had a huge, massive blowout in the back of his head, which was
Mm.
clearly an exit wound, and he had a puncture wound in his throat. So the
Oh.
doctors at Parkland did a press conference. They said Jack Kennedy was shot from the front, and then, but of course, that wasn't the government's lying story,
Yeah.
and they had problems because an AP photographer named Elkins took a picture just as the shot hit Jack Kennedy in the throat. Elkins was standing in front of the limousine, and he could see
Mm-hmm.
the Texas School Book Depository behind Jack Kennedy. So that picture was published the first hours or so after the assassination, and that meant if Lee Harvey Oswald was the shooter from the Texas School Book Depository,
Mm-hmm.
all the shots had to come from behind, but they didn't. And so we
Ah.
now we produced the scientific evidence.
Are there no shots that actually hit JFK from behind? None?
Just the one in the back of his head.
Okay.
The one that hit him in the back of his head was the only one from
The
behind.
only one from behind.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so
Poor man.
this was a crossfire, and it
Across.
was the deep state decided, the government. I blame Alan Dulles, who headed the CIA, that
Mm-hmm.
Jack Kennedy fired. The military wanted to go to war in
Mm-hmm.
Vietnam. Kennedy had signed an order to pull out of Vietnam, and the government killed Jack Kennedy and
Yeah.
lied. And so, therefore, the book is really relevant today because we know now, it raises a lot of questions.
But,
9
Dr. Corsi, can I have a question?
Sure.
Now we understand the government, the military complex, industrial complex wanted to go to war. JFK doesn't want to go to war. Okay, but the point is, the president of the United States is going to stay there for years. Uh, was it necessary to do all this incredible? It's even like Hollywood, with well at the parade. I mean, it's spectacular. Was it necessary to do it, or was there some other reason apart from the fact that because the president of the United States, yes, he does have the ultimate decision, word if when he's the chief of the military, the commander in chief. But I wonder, was it just that? Was it just that, or was there also some other reason that caused this whole planning? Because you have to plan an incredible amount of time. You have to, in order to set up such a stage. In my opinion, it is not a normal assassination. You can even assassinate a guy with arsenic. But here they made something that is like for the whole world and for the millennia to remember.
Well, first of all, Jack Kennedy was very popular as a president, and he was likely to be reelected. So
Mm-hmm.
they did not want him to take that risk.
Mm.
Secondly, there were other issues. Yes, I mean, Jack Kennedy wanted to end the power of the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, maybe.
He started printing money that were treasury notes that could be redeemed in gold, and he started that again. Okay, at least they were treasury notes, not Federal Reserve notes. He had many different policies where he was wanting to reach out to Khrushchev. After the
Yes,
after
Khrushchev.
the Cuban Missile Crisis,
Mm-hmm.
when our generals and the Russian generals wanted to go to war over Cuba,
Yes.
Kennedy backchanneled to Khrushchev,
Mm-hmm.
and he said, essentially, they came to a deal. We pulled our missiles out of Turkey, and Russia pulled their missiles out of Cuba.
Yes.
Jack Kennedy then advanced to get a nuclear test ban treaty with Khrushchev, and he was working to reduce tensions
Yeah, to normalize a relationship
with Russia.
with Russia.
And the final analysis,
Yes.
actually, the Kennedys would always say in the final analysis, but
Yes.
a speech that Jack Kennedy gave just before he died, a couple months before he died, at American University, it was a commencement speech. He
Mm-hmm.
said, in the final analysis, we all live on this small planet.
Mm-hmm.
We all cherish our children, our grandchildren. We all breathe the same air, and we are all mortal. Now, what he was
Yeah.
saying was that he wanted to stop the continuous wars. This military industrial complex has had nothing but perpetual war. He wanted to end the CIA's lying. They're running the drug trades. They're running, this Operation MK Ultra where they were experimenting with utilizing drugs in order
Oh,
to
yes,
influence. Yes, I mean, the CIA has been, these intelligence agencies are criminal. Are
absolutely.
and Kennedy knew that even under Eisenhower, Allen Dulles had organized a coup d'état in Guatemala that was a CIA staged coup d'état because he wanted the Guatemala had a new president that was going to return land to the people from a banana company that was very prominent in the United States. And so we deposed the government to protect the banana company. And
Yeah.
we had staged coups all over the world.
Yes. Yeah.
Lumumba in Africa, Mossadegh in Iran. The CIA was a rogue organization, and it still is today.
Still is. It organized the coup of the United States of America.
And it organized the coup of the United States of America.
JFK is as a coup, as for example.
Yes,
JFK
it's a
is
coup
Kennedy
d'état.
is a
And
coup.
I wrote a book on.
A violent coup d'etat, by the way, because
Yeah,
there was the murder of the president. And now with Trump, this is my personal opinion, and I'm an Italian. I watch American news from here, and my personal opinion is, which is a very well based opinion, is that, of course, they stole the elections of 2020 to Donald Trump. And it's so evident. And it's an ongoing coup because they're a cover up. There is the cover up. The cover up is part of the coup.
I,
And
I
it,
wrote I wrote a book called Coup d'etat about President Trump,
oh,
and this so I have actually written a book Coup d'etat that did
and you
very
will
well.
come back to talk about that next book. You have to
And
promise.
I will, but I was, they had this Russian collusion investigation, and they were trying to impeach Trump over Russia,
Yes.
and they were investigating whether or not Russia colluded with Trump in the 2016 election. Well, I had been very close to Donald Trump. I had been working with Roger Stone
Oh,
on this Mueller investigation.
really
The
nice work.
FBI thought that I had a tie to Julian Assange, so they brought me before the grand
I
jury.
remember. I remember that.
And I
I
was,
follow
and
you.
they
I remember.
finally, I was there with them for 40 hours. I turned over my computers and everything, and I didn't have anything to hide. But I did not have a tie to Julian Assange. I just figured out on my own that Assange had Podesta's emails. That
Mhm.
was what he was going to release last, and I was able to predict what was in the emails and how he would use them,
Mhm.
but I did not have a source.
Yes.
So the FBI said that I had to have a source, and they were going to indict me for lying in front of a jury in Washington that would put me in prison the rest of my life. Or I could take a plea
A
deal,
conspiracy from their part.
or I could take a plea deal and admit to lying, and I would have a very light sentence. Well, I could not swear before God to a lie to keep myself out of jail, so I refused their plea deal, and they never
Bravo.
indicted me. When I
Bravo.
refused the plea deal, they ended the Mueller investigation because they couldn't get what they wanted. I thought I had the last piece, and I didn't. They were lying. And I wrote a book called Coup d'etat, explaining how it was a FBI intelligence agency attempt to destroy Donald Trump, just like they had killed Jack Kennedy. And I think the CIA has been running the United States of America for since Jack Kennedy's assassination.
Yes. But even earlier, in my opinion, my
Yes,
always humble,
even earlier.
my humble opinion is always that the real coup, but even here in Europe, is when whoever, whatever, takes control of the money supply or of the money of the country. I mean, all of us are have been children, and know it. And if you wanted to go out at night, you would have to ask some money to your daddy or your mommy to go and buy an ice cream or go to the movies. And if they say no, it's no. and you can't go. So they have control of your life. So what is independence? And they will say, when you grow up, you will become independent and you can go and buy all the ice creams you want, right? So what makes you independent in this system that is based on economic exchange or on commercial exchange with money? Who holds the money? Who holds the wallet? So the moment in which the United States of America, within 1913, signed off to a private bank to private citizens, the ability to print the American money, that was the end of the American independence. This is my humble opinion of a lady in Milano. That was the big coup. Then after that, they wanted to manage all the policies, all the policies of America, and this is what they, and it's unbelievable to me how they call themselves. For example, now you talked about the Central Intelligence Agency. It's the names mean a lot. Central Intelligence Agency. It's evident that it does not work for America. It does not work for the president, because if the Central Intelligence Agency assassinates its own president, it's not working for the president. Okay, it's working for something else.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. It's one of the big lessons you learn as president is that you're not necessarily in control,
No, you're not.
and the bureaucracy may or may not do what you tell it to do. Now, I've written 30 books since 2004,
Mhm.
and I started out with the in 2004 co-authored "Unfit for Command," which was opposing John Kerry for running for
Oh,
president. It was a swiftboat book. My co-author John O'Neill was a swiftboat veteran from Vietnam, and he actually commanded Kerry's boat when Kerry came to Vietnam. Kerry was imitating John Kennedy, and John Kennedy was a PT boat commander.
mm,
And we pointed out that John Kerry had fraudulent Purple Heart medals and that he was really anti-American. And John Kerry lost the election.
fraudulent Purple
And,
Heart medal is incredible.
and then in 2008, I wrote Abomination, which was about President Obama running
Yes,
for office. And I picked Abomination because I was saying this guy
fantastic
is an
title.
abomination.
Abomination.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Okay,
And
I like it. I like it.
that
It
both
would
both those books became #1 New York Times bestsellers. I've written a lot of best-selling books, and I've been
be honored to have you here,
writing
of course.
and having an impact on politics by writing and doing the work I've done and researching
Yes,
for 20 years, and
yes,
impacting national policy in the presidential elections.
yes.
The What I want to do, and by the way, for the War Room, my current book, in fact, I'm submitting it on Monday. I formed the Antiglobalist Alliance, which Archbishop
Yes,
Vigano has been asking for 3 years for this to be done. And so, on my initiative, I formed the Anti-Globalist Alliance, and
yes, please tell the Italian public right now. We're talking to the Italian people right now. Please
right.
explain about this alliance, because it is something that has to grow, it has to expand, and it's a global movement. And therefore, maybe there are some people who will listen, even maybe people of influence in Italy who will listen to this interview that maybe would like to reach out. So please
Well,
explain a little bit.
the book is going to be the Anti-Globalist Alliance Manifesto, and it's going to be published. The subtitle is "Ending the War on Humanity." And Steve Bannon is going to write the introduction. And it's going to be a War Room book. It's
Oh,
being published by War Room, by Steve Bannon's War Room. Now, the Anti Globalist Alliance, the concept is to end the control of the bankers, to end the control of these transhumanist globalists.
yes.
As I say, we've been living in a lie. We've been living in a narrative that the intelligence agencies have created, and it's all a lie. So, Jack Kennedy's assassination, it was not Lee Harvey Oswald. They were lied to us. 9/11, why did buildings that were not hit by the airplanes come down? Building
No,
7.
not at all.
Why when we In 1991, when we went after Saddam Hussein, we didn't find any weapons of mass destruction, although that's evidently the reason we went to war. Now we have a pandemic, which is a bad flu, and,
Yeah.
and a vaccine that doesn't stop you from getting the disease. In fact, the vaccine may kill you.
It's not even a vaccine. They had to change the definition in order for it to get that immunity of liability.
And I'm going to come to Italy and work in Italy to create an anti-globalist alliance, Italia. And we're going to,
Okay.
and the point is to bring things back to community. I want there to be, it's community. I want people to be in communities. I want to bring energy
Mm-hmm.
into various kinds of consortium. So you can
Yes.
have a consortium that works together of the local manufacturing, the local farmers to be able to bring their produce to market without having to go to the agri companies. I
That would
want
be
their
fantastic.
I want to bring it.
That
I
would
want
liberate a lot of poverty.
yes, and to have the wealth go to the people, not to
Yeah.
go to the bankers, not to go to the people who cause wars all the time. People don't want to go to wars.
No.
It's the arms manufacturers. Look, we were engineered into a pandemic, and the only
Mm-hmm.
ones who made money were the pharmaceutical companies. They made billions of dollars, and they paid off everybody to do it. They paid off the media. They paid off our politicians. We have a president who, Joe Biden, who is obviously suffering from senior dementia, not running the country, and
Yeah.
he wants to go to war with Putin in Ukraine. This is insane.
It's
The two
insane.
pro- it's insane, and Putin is saying do not involve American troops or long range missiles that can hit into Russia. Well, Biden's going to do that. And that'll be, Putin said it'll be a nuclear war if Europe gets involved. We don't need.
Dr. Corsi, don't you think that this uh, imperialistic attitude from whomever is driving it, even though maybe we can all have an idea, did you think it's pathological?
Yes, I think
I
we
think
have.
it's seriously
We,
pathological because
it,
they
yes,
would rather, get into the world into annihilation. Do you say that of nuclear destruction? You know, and in order to feed to like an obsession, and you have the compulsion is to get this power. They are obsessed, and sometimes like in those diseases that are self-destructive, like I don't know, anorexia, their obsession of getting thin is so big that their compulsion will kill them,
yes. In
kill them
fact,
all. It's
I,
pathological.
I think Archbishop Vigano is right. This is a satanic death cult. They want to
Yes.
depopulate. They
Yes.
think there's too many people. They think they can become transhuman. Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, they can merge themselves with their computers, and the rest of us are useless. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in human rights.
They don't believe in the soul,
They don't
evidently.
believe in the
They,
soul.
they,
They
they
don't.
don't consider the factor soul, the soul of the human, right?
And the
They think it can be robots.
Anti-Globalist Alliance wants to bring God back into our lives. We want to build families. We want to have families where the children are raised, where the grandparents are in the home. We have a family that stays together. We live in communities and we live locally. We have plenty to do to support local businesses and work together, not being controlled by bankers and militarists and these people who want all the power, all the money, and war and
Mhm.
disease. And it's they're a death cult.
Yeah.
And it is seriously, as you said to begin with, we are in a spiritual war. And the Anti-Globalist Alliance, I want to be international.
Mhm.
And Italy is one of the United States and Italy are two places where we want to build this alliance.
Mhm.
And we want to build this to have the principles of returning power to the people who are sovereign, not to governments, not to Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, not to the United Nations and the World Health Organization. These are the organizations that will kill us. They will produce diseases in order to force upon us vaccines that are going to kill us. And it's a matter of satanic purpose because they're lies. All
No,
they can do is lie.
yes, of course, and a lie is the best instrument of the devil, to deceive. But lies have short legs. We say in Italy, they don't stand in the sense that they don't have a long life, because they're based. They are like a small a small stain or a small interruption, okay, in a force of nature, into a logos, into a universal force that is based on truth and facts. So you can lie, but then this lie will disintegrate sooner or later. Won't last. So they go from lie to lie to lie to lie to lie to maintain their pace of evilness in this world. That in truth, if left alone, it would just bloom into just beauty, and really the whole world can find harmony, within the people and from people with people. It's always this element of disruption, of negativity that is put into the people, that causes chaos, and interfering in a beautiful music. They put these elements of interference to ruin the whole beautiful music. If you just get out of these bad noises, you would have a symphony, a harmonious symphony. But what I would like to understand also is, yeah, you said it, the one reason, the one way in order to become independent from this. How do you say in English? Excuse my English. From this cage. Okay, let's put it like so. This strangle. Okay, of uh, of. Um, of evilness is to break free from their control of the money. And but I see it's very, very difficult, especially now that there are the digital currencies coming out. Everything is paid with a telephone, and I wouldn't think it would be like Don Quixote, a battle with against the windmills, a lost battle, or a battle that would take hundreds of years, probably, maybe, I don't know. It's very complicated in a planet that is commercially always more interdependent, um, to to redesign a financial and economic system. Maybe wouldn't it be better to find uh, a way to politically find an agreement that say, um, you know a government with the people, in truth, is a contract. You elect me, and if you elect me, I will do this and this and this for you. So this is a contract that you have with the people. But if that government does not sustain, does not match the promises that it made, that government should leave immediately. A system in which a referendum is put in place every time you want to go to war. Let's ask the people a referendum. Put into referendum everything. Do you want to join the European Union? A referendum. But that referendum has to be accepted, and we need, first and foremost, a judicial, an international court, whatever you want to call it, that is fair, that applies the law, because wars happen when the law is disregarded. In America right now, you are in a civil war because the law does not matter anymore. The importance of the Supreme Court right now in this moment of your historical moment in America, which you really are in a battle for a second independence, is extraordinary. The importance and the relevance that they have right now. They have to understand that if they do not uphold the Constitution and the rule of law, there is going to be war.
Well,
So
first of all, I don't trust government at all. I know. I don't think. I
no,
think limited government is the best government. Government.
you have to give, sorry, excuse me, you have to give to the people the power to
Yes.
fire the government.
Well, the problem with government is it tends to move towards power and to aggrandize its power. It's done it historically. It's hard to limit government. I think our founding fathers worried about that. We built this enormous bureaucracy that's not responsible to anyone. We have these internet. There are ways to construct systems that are honest, but they have to be more community based. They have to be distrustful of government. So, in other words, you could have money on the blockchain. You could have cryptocurrencies that can't be taken away from you. You could
Hmm.
have voting on the blockchain, so the voting has to be legitimate. There's
Hmm.
ways to
That would
engineer,
be amazing, voting on the blockchain.
yes,
That would
and
be amazing.
and if you do this, you can't have fraud because you can check
No.
it. And you could put the entire internet on the blockchain so that nothing could be erased. I
Yeah.
mean, there's ways you can utilize this technology with the purpose of letting people be empowered, not institutions, not
Yeah.
multinational corporations.
Yeah.
These are impersonal entities, and they go to power, and they go to money, and they go to control. That's
Mm.
where I think we've got to get back. But it begins fundamentally with the reintroduction of values. It begins with believing in God again, bringing God back into our lives. It begins the traditional
Yeah.
family, where if they people have an awareness that there are consequences to this experience in life, that
Yes.
it's
Yes.
and families stick together and to raise children with a moral education. I mean, these are fundamental to human existence, and we tend to always stray from it and then have to come back to it. And we're now in a period of time where I think people are increasingly worldwide saying no to globalism and not going down this direction. If we have, these cell phones become our imprisonment, and they will confine us to a 15-minute city. They will have lies about carbon dioxide and not be able to use efficient energy.
Yes.
They lie about everything. And the point is, we need free speech. We need open debate. We need disagreement. But again, at the heart of it, if
Very
people lose
likely.
faith in God, then we are going down a very dark path. And
Look,
right,
you're filling my heart with these words. My heart is really swelling with empathy for the words you just said, because I was just talking the other day with a friend, and we mentioned Antonio Gramsci. I don't know if you know him. He is
yes, I know him very well.
okay. Well, to the American public, he was an Italian journalist who shaped politics. He was a communist, and he realized that in order to get a population to accept politics, that a political movement, an ideology, it was not enough to impose it like a dictator, because you have to change the mentality. And the way he
Mhm.
constructed his to get into academia, to get into the arts, into the cultural, theater, like in America you have Hollywood, okay. And to shape the mind of the people before imposing. They will want that God.
Well,
And so he was evil. And what we should do, like you said, we should go back to teaching to the people the value of our life, the miracle that it is our existence, and that God is really, just look around yourself and you are just, I'm at awe every time I just go for a walk in the park and I see a tree, and I know that in every single leaf is different from the every other leaf, and there's not one the same in the universe. And how can you not see God into this?
well, see,
And if
that's
we teach
that
this,
Gramsci wrote these notebooks in prison, and
yeah.
he said you had to attack the culture. You got to
Hmm.
attack the culture of capitalism, and you had to
Yeah.
break down the family. You had to get rid
Hmm.
of God. He
Yeah.
was the first to really understand that this is the way, you architect it's negation. I wrote a book on this called Neo-Marxism, Cultural Maoism, and Anarchy, in which I explained the evolution of communism. That first of all, Gramsci was extremely influential. He was followed by the Frankfurt School. They
Yeah.
ultimately decided that the way to break traditional values was to have a sexual revolution. And if they
Oh,
had sexual revolution and
with
birth
Freud.
control, and they started reading Freud into
Yes,
Marx, and they
yes.
started to say, that
Breaking
un,
taboos, they used to say.
uninhibited sexuality was the liberating force. It's all nonsense. It's all destructive. It's all meant
Nonsense,
to
yes.
destroy. And so there,
Offensive.
and then you get into the absolute perversions of the LGBT and transgenderism. You start don't know who a man is or who a woman is. This becomes
Degeneracy.
this postmodern nonsense. You can't just make up your reality.
No.
It's a premise that all reality is subjective, and you can make it be whatever you want it to be. Well, that's
Yeah.
not the real. There is natural law. There is God. There are rules of how this place runs. Our experience
And
is
the people who really do have sexual dysphorias or these issues, they are the first victims. They are used so ruthlessly as tools in order to push their agenda, and they're used and they play with their lives and their fragile feelings or fragile situations, and that is also heartbreaking. And they make them look even ridiculous, to promote something that is for them maybe deep inside hurtful. Everything is so sick, Jerome.
well, it's
And
there's always been a certain percentage, a certain degree of sexual dysphoria. There's always a certain degree of schizophrenia. There's always a certain degree of issues, but you can't normalize it and demand that it be celebrated, because
no.
that then violates the fundamental moral law, which is, you get down to where you look at human beings like this guy Noah Harari, who's one of
Mhm.
he wrote the book on Sapiens and then Homo Deus, and he believes that we're going to see the end of people, that human beings are outmoded, that we need transhumans, and there are no human rights. So, okay, China begins harvesting organs and killing prisoners to harvest their organs. We have abortions and we harvest the organs and sell the body parts of the fetus. These are crimes against God. Only God can give life. We don't have the right to
No.
take life.
And
God
life
bestows
starts
life.
at the moment there is the spark of life.
At
It's
the
in the,
moment
at
of
the
conception,
conception. At conception is conceive a thought. That when is the thought is born. It's the
yes,
conception, the word itself we should tell.
yes,
Not at 9 months. Oh, not when. And when mothers, women, let's call them women, that they say, my body, my choice. Well, ask the little body inside of you if he
correct,
has a choice. Ask him,
correct,
do you want to live or do you want to die?
correct.
You are just taking advantage of the fact that that little body inside of you has not yet developed the mouth to say, I want to live, mom. I want to live.
Yes, it's a tragedy to have abortion, and
It's tragic. It's the defeat of humanity.
and again, when it becomes normalized, when it becomes a death cult, now you've crossed certain boundaries in human beings, and you've created negation, you've created confusion, you created
Yes.
anarchy. I say this ends in anarchy. It
Yeah.
ends in war. And these
Yeah.
demons think there's too many people, that they want the resources of the world for themselves. They
Yeah.
think they can be the self-appointed elite, and they
So
can run the
ridiculous.
world.
They're really, you know why I laugh in front of this? Because they're so stupid, that they're ridiculous. What will you do without the people? Do you think you're
Now
gonna
this
be
this
cool?
world would be a great place except for the
The
people.
world
I
will be
mean,
horrible. The world will be horrible without
yeah,
the first populations of the world.
yeah,
Listen,
and
yes, sorry, please conclude
well,
because
we
then
can
we
we can support
fascinated.
many more billions than we have here now. This earth flourishes. The Bible admonishes us to go forward and multiply. It doesn't say go forward and divide. It doesn't say
That's
go forward and kill each
no,
other.
Jerome, I'm sorry. I was just posting the other day on X a comment. I think we are in 7.8 billion or something like that on the. Okay. And the surface area of Australia is 780. Let me go and check million square meters, square kilometers, or something like that. And practically each person would have 100 square meters of land.
Yeah, and
Each, if we all went to Australia,
the planet is look at
and the
Italy.
rest of
look at Italy.
It's so big. We
Italy.
should all live in Australia and
Yeah,
have 100
right.
square meters each
Well,
of land.
look
Just
at
imagine
Italy.
we have
Italy's
condominiums.
been Italy's been populated, for thousands of years, and there's
Yeah,
still a lot of countryside.
yeah.
It's not all Rome or Milan or Venice.
No.
There's many, many places all through Italy
I think we
that
are too many.
yes, and
So,
so and the world is that way. If you fly anywhere over America, you're not going to fly over densely populated areas except for the major cities.
yeah,
There's
of
a
course.
lot of unpopulated areas or sparsely populated areas. And besides, with the technology of hydroponics, we could feed the world out of the deserts, which have
God,
sun.
there's so many techniques to provide water, from the sea, desalination. There's so many techniques that they just don't want. They want to tell you, oh, there's no water, you have to die of thirst.
The scarce resource on Earth is human intelligence. That's the only scarce
This
resource.
is fantastic. Absolutely. Like it was Einstein who said, I'm not sure if the world is infinite, but the stupidity of humankind is, I'm certain about that.
Well,
Listen, so we have a couple of minutes before I have to go for another interview. I have a special guest also who is also interested in the Global Alliance, Antiglobalist Alliance. And what would you have a message to leave to apart from the fact that we should all go and buy this book? And we're just going to show it again. Where is it? I'm looking. Okay, it's my first broadcast, so I have
that's
to
all right.
be.
This is the book right here. It's easy to do it this
Okay,
way.
the final analysis. Thank you so much
That's easy to do.
for the help.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
my
am the director of everything.
my
And
thought I leave people with is when I
yes,
have a podcast which is called thetruthcentral.com.
okay.
Thetruthcentral.com. I do podcasts every weekday, and I always end it by saying, in the end, God always wins. God is sovereign. God always wins. God's already written the ending. And so Satan loses, and this evil loses. It's just we are going to go through a judgment of God because we violated God's law, and we have to get back to God's law. And
Yeah.
the Anti-Globalist Alliance is designed to bring God back into our lives and bring community and family back into our lives and to end this endless war, this endless greed, the multinational corporations, the bribery, the insanity, the power that governments want. The people should be sovereign, not the government, and God
Thank
should
you.
rule. And
Thank you.
we get back
Thank
to
you,
that, we'll have
Jerome.
some sanity.
Thank you, Jerome. You are an extraordinary man, an incredibly beautiful, deep soul, and I am really thankful to God for having had you as my first guest. And I couldn't imagine a more beautiful way to begin my channel, More Room Italia. And I hope you will be back sometime soon, maybe to talk more about this alliance, how things will proceed, and if. And of course, a message to the Italian people. Is there a website? Maybe they can go and see about it.
The
Maybe not, or is it?
There will be soon. My website is
Okay,
now thetruthcentral.com. Thetruthcentral.com.
Central.
And we will have the antiglobalist alliance.com soon.
Okay, fantastic. So when this will be ready, we will go for another interview and present it here. Okay.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Grazie. Allora, vediamoci qui. Allora, volevo ringraziare tutti qua. I wanted to thank
No, no,
everybody. For,
capisco italiano, so sa bene.
I'm closing, and but it's for the American people. So right now, I wanted to thank everybody for having watched this first broadcast of mine. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure you have, as a special guest like Dr. Jerome Corsi, and please subscribe to my channel. I'm on Rumble. Let me see if I find the banner. It's here. Okay. The channel is called Guia Mariani. It's on Rumble. Please subscribe to it because YouTube censors me. And see you soon. See you at the next broadcast. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.